Good evening. My name's Jason Debley, and tonight's review is from an obscure distillery called Mortlach, or Mortlach. I can't pronounce it properly. I don't speak Gaelic. I think it's Mortlach. Kind of on the end there, you got a bit of, little of an accent. Anyway, here's the bottle, or the packaging. Very posh. Kind of fitting for the holiday season if you're looking for a gift. It's owned by Diageo since 1925. And there's the bottle. Very posh again. A very big bottle and almost empty. Only had this bottle for about 2 weeks, but I've had friends over in a whiskey meeting and it's been very popular. We had about 12 different bottles at the last meeting last week, and this is a hit of the night. More popular than Jim Murray's selection of Canadian Rye Northern Harvest Rye, or Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye. In any case, this is a distillery that's not well known by most people, Mortlach. But you've probably tasted it in Johnny Walker bottlings, because Mortlach, when it was purchased by John Walker and Sons in 1925, was purchased as an ingredient in their blended Scotch Whisky, Johnny Walker Red, and other releases. And Mortlach is famous for being, or it's been called, the Beast of Dufftown, because it's a big, muscular, sherried whiskey that sometimes the sherry can be almost sulphurish, have a sulphur quality to it. And in the past, there have been independent bottlings, which was the only way to really get at the single malts, because the vast amount of production was to go into blends to give structure and backbone to blended Scotch, which often can be very thin and light and uninteresting. So, only way you could taste Mortlach if it wasn't in a blend and you wanted to try it as a single malt used to be when someone like Hart Brothers or Gordon and MacPhail bought some of the stock, did their own wood management, and aged it in sherry or bourbon casks. Now, this particular release by Diageo, I think was launched in 2014, and there were 4 bottles that were launched, or 4 releases, to really aiming at a luxury niche market. And so the price is not friendly. In Canada, it's $110. In Australia and New Zealand, very expensive. In the United States, I have readers on my blog who say that they can pick it up for between $40 and $60 at Costco, which is an awesome deal, I think. So, we're going to try it. Don't you just love that noise? And now this is in the production. It was aged in a combination of sherry and bourbon casks. That's all I can tell you. There's not a lot of information available. And the alcohol by volume is 43.4%. So not 40%, not too high, 43.4. And on the nose, pleasant. You smell the sherry right away. You know, roses, violets, pleasant floral notes. All good. Smoke, little bit, teensy-weensy. And on the palate, thick, chewy, salted, milk chocolate with lots of orange rind in there. Lots of sherry. Bourbon casks were used, but I've been drinking a lot of this, not all in one sitting, and this is a sherried whiskey for me. Bourbon is a component in it, and this particular Mortlach release is less sherried than the older releases by independent bottlers, and also not as strong. It's 43.4% alcohol by volume, as opposed to some of the independent bottler releases, which are significantly higher and would require to add a little bit of water. The palate is raisins, dark honey, bit of pomegranate. It's all good. On the finish, you're left with fine graphite. It's malty, pencil lead, summer savory, za'atar. It's good. This is very good whiskey. No age statement, so it's probably suggesting to my novice mind that there's some young whiskey in here less than 12 years old. Otherwise, they probably would have used an age statement of 12 years old because in terms of marketing, everybody thinks that older whiskey is better, which is true to a point. But some whiskeys hit their zenith or their peak at 12 or 14 years or 16 years, and other whiskeys require more time. So I think there's whiskey less than 12 years old in here, but none of the whiskeys from this distillery making up the single malt are young in terms of biting or raw. If I told you the age statement on this was 12 or 14 years, I don't think anybody would argue with me. And don't be concerned about the age statement. Good whiskey. Nothing wrong with this. I've tried this with water. I do not recommend it with water. Really good quality whiskey on the edge of, well, it is high. It's a higher, they're marketing this as a luxury posh whiskey. It is good. There's really no flaws. It's balanced. I like it a lot. The price is a little scary at $110 in Canada. And like I said, Australia and New Zealand, you're paying a lot for this. In the US, you always get better prices because it seems that taxation on alcohol is less and there's more of a free market in terms of distribution of alcohol. In any case, I like it, and I don't really have anything negative to say. I think for serious single malt aficionados who know Mortlach, which is a very small percentage of the drinking population, they might regard Mortlach Rare Old as Mortlach Light, kind of like Bud Light, because it's not as sherried as the beast it has been in the past. I don't hold it against that. I like a balanced whiskey, and I like it a little more easygoing. In terms of what I would compare this to, think of Oban 14 or Oban 14 and Belvany 12 Double Wood, which are both cheaper than this, but this has got more character. Glendronach 12 or Glendronach 15 is actually stronger. Then I think of Glenmorangie Quinta Reuben, which is finished in port casks, and I think this is better than that, but not by very much, and Glenmorangie Quinta Reuben is a lot cheaper. So in terms of value for money, you could do probably a lot better with Glenmorangie Quinta Reuben, but if you are in the gift-giving mode and or mood, and it's Christmas time, Hanukkah, or whatever, somebody's birthday, you can't go wrong with the fancy packaging and assured of good, balanced quality, high-end whiskey. Thank you for tuning in. Cheers.